What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Sunday. Sunday. It's time for cozy couch conversations with the three queens from Queens. How's everybody feeling? Hey, come on in the building. Hi, everybody. Waiting for my two other queens from Queens. Hey, welcome. Hey, cuz. Hey, Amir. How y'all doing? Hi, everybody. Okay, I see one coming through. Hey. Okay, where's my other little lady? Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Kev. There she is. Hey. What's up? It's Sunday. What's up? Thanks for the love. Hi, everybody. What's going on? Hey, Evie.
Hello.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
That's
Oh,
good.
stuff in my face.
Caught you. Caught you. Hey, come on through the building, Chi Chi. I don't know why. I wish IG would just, ooh,
Hello.
Yeah.
ooh, push through.
Okay, now.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks for the love. Yes, welcome.
Stop.
Yeah, let me know.
Don't go over there. No.
All right. What's going on, ladies?
Hey.
What's going on? Thank y'all for hopping on. As Mo said, welcome to Cozy Couch Conversations. How's everybody feeling? All right. Peace, love, and light. Okay.
I love that.
Energetic stone of
Stones
life.
of life. Yes.
Ooh,
I will drink
nice.
that.
What's in that cup?
What's in that cup?
It's a little rosy stuff.
Little
Oh,
rosy stuff.
little rosy stuff. Okay. That's what we doing.
Oh, it's Lolita.
Hi,
Hey.
Lolita. Oh, okay.
Hey,
Hello.
Lolita.
Peace and
Okay,
blessings.
I didn't. Okay.
Blessings going on.
Nice. Hi,
Going on.
everybody.
Mr. Saints here. All right.
So, happy Sunday, ladies.
Happy Sunday. Nick says, live it up. I know that's right.
Hey, what's up, New York Nick?
What up,
So,
Nick?
building.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another wonderful night with the three queens from Queens. We love y'all and we appreciate y'all, everybody who shows us so much love. I'm gonna start it off because I always be jumping around. So I'm Empress Mo.
As long as you know, you'd be jumping around.
Raining from Queens. I know, my little also. And just so happy and thankful and grateful that we were able to start tonight. And I'm gonna pass it to you, Chi Chi.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am, like she said, I'm Chi Coleman, and the other queen from Queens. I'm not in Queens anymore, but it's still in me. So, welcome. Happy to be here. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Evie, the other Queens from Queens, but I'm hailing out of Virginia, so yeah. Happy Sunday. Welcome.
Yes.
The island girl.
The island girl, right. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we were thinking about what would we talk about. I know we talk about different topics, and sometimes, we talk about certain things, and you're probably like, I heard about that before, but it's always different hearing it in a different situation, a different light. Right. And maybe after a certain instance that's happened, because what I know to be true is that sometimes we hear things based on the vibrations that we're on. We're a high vibration. We hear something, maybe it went through our ear, went out. I don't know. We're in a low vibration. We probably processed it a little bit different. So the conversation we want to talk about tonight is more so focused, and it's so crazy. It's in alignment with a whole bunch of stuff that happened today, but it's about belief, trust, belief versus trust, right? Versus faith. And those three words seem to always go together in things, right? And sometimes some of us may use the interchangeably, but kind of wanted to break down and give a, you know, a different perspective, you know, on here. So wanted to definitely also bring on someone else, you know, because it's always great to hear other people's voices. You hear our voices. I'm quite sure you don't mind, but we process things differently, right? This time around when we're hearing things. So, you know, tonight we have a special guest, Miss Shannon Ivory. Actually, Shannon is my accountability partner. And I just thought it was so fitting. The conversation wasn't planned at all. And we kind of had a conversation. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Because I was thinking about talking about that, you know, stuff tonight. And I said, you know what? Shannon, she wants to get out of her comfort zone anyway. So it all worked out. It's a win-win situation, right? Alignment. And so I said, you know what? She was dropping some very pertinent, relevant things to me. And I said, you know what? I got to have you to talk, because I could write down what you said, but it's better to hear, you know, straight from the person, because it's more intentional, right? And it's from the heart. So let me see if she is on.
Before we do that, I want to just throw out a couple things and do what my mentor does, or one of my mentors. All right. As you can all see,
I had it too in my hand. Good looking out.
Yes.
The definition.
So we're talking about belief, faith, and trust, right? And belief is the ability to accept as constant truth everything contrary to excuse me, sensory perception. So it's giving substance or evidence to, you know, your faith. And when we're talking about faith, we're talking about complete confidence in someone or something. Then when we look at trust, which ties it all together, is a firm belief, right, in the reliability, the truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. So hence we see how all three tie together, because, you know, we say we walk by faith, not by sight. You have your belief is that you're trusting in God or whomever you believe in, right? To carry you through anything that you're going through, you know, all the things in life. So you have a trust in someone, be it, you know, in God and in the word, right? In that will carry you through life itself. So
right. Thank you for that. Because that was something I forgot to mention. But yeah, like she said, usually when we talk about faith, that's mainly tied with religion. That's why they don't say walk by trust, not by sight. That's why it don't sound right, right? No, or walk by belief, not by sight. It doesn't sound right. So, because faith, like she said, is something that's unwavering. Like it's the knowing, right? It's just knowing without even knowing why you know, but you just know, right? And so that belief, you know, is that state of mind. Belief is more so tied into habits of the mind. Habit. So belief is more so a habit, because faith is, this is what it is all day, every single day. I believe it, you know, it's in me. And that belief it goes up and down. Today we believe something, tomorrow something just knocks us off. Somebody says something, I don't know, something didn't go right. And when we go back to our lower vibrational, whatever we got going on self, right? And then trust. And it's not, you know what, and when it comes to trust too, it's not always just other people. It's trusting yourself, because you know you better than you. You know,
right.
So that's the other part of it too. So it's having a sure reliability or confidence in someone without even thinking about it. And it could relate to yourself as well. And earlier this afternoon, we had a mentorship call with Dr. David Amite. And it's crazy. Again, that whole alignment. I said, this man was ear hustling in my head about what I wanted to talk about. But he really broke that, you know, down with certain things. And so I said, you know what? It's great. That means that I'm hearing the right voices, because it's echoing what I already know.
Mm-hmm.
I already know it's being said in a different way. And then also, one of the two things that he said, which resonated before I bring on Shannon on, is that he was saying it's about, thinking about knowing your focus, right? What do you want? And who do you, with your focus, your goal in mind, who are you going to align yourself to help you get that done, right? Or who are you going to serve, right? So you got to be, it's kind of like equally yoked, right?
It
It's
has
kind of
to
like
be
a marriage in a
connected
sense.
to something or
Yes,
that something or that someone.
absolutely, absolutely.
And it has to be constant.
So it has to be something that's definitely in alignment with that vision or that thought or that process. So definitely know this is going to be a great conversation. Let me see. Mo, can you see
I
Shannon?
don't see her in the room yet.
Let me see.
Hold up.
She was on. She made a comment, but if not,
I'll pull her.
Hey, Trouble, how you doing?
Let's see if we can pull her. Okay. There we go. I gotcha.
no, she's on. Okay.
I pulled her, yeah. Oh, she sent a request too. Okay, let's do that.
All right. Hey.
Good
Hi.
evening. Good evening. Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Welcome to the Cozy Couch.
Yes, welcome. Listen,
You're our first guest for
I was just about to say that.
Oh,
For the new
wow.
year. For the new
Yes.
year. You are the first guest from 2022.
Yes.
Welcome.
That definitely adds a little bit of pressure.
No.
Let me tell you, you better
No
be careful
pressure
what
at
you
all. No
tell.
pressure.
Be careful what you tell your accountability partner. That's all I can say.
Listen, no blood will be shed here. No, maybe some tears of joy.
Always
we
will be.
committed to be stretched, so that's why we're confiding in one another and in those areas. So I appreciate the invitation and definitely appreciate you ladies sharing the room, you queens, bringing it in for 2022. And thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so
Very
much.
welcome.
So Shannon, you could quickly just give a bit about yourself, and just go from there. Well, then I'll hit you with some other things, but go ahead, just a bit about yourself.
Yeah, a little bit about myself. Well, I've been in network marketing for 28 years. I walked away from it about 4 years ago, looking for something different, wanted to make a greater impact when I realized the greatest impact I could make was right where I was standing. There's a lot of things that we attempt to avoid, and we call it, we'll give it a name, tell a story about it, and make it up that makes it excusable for us to walk away from it. But it was an opportunity for me to stretch and grow in character and development, and especially in leadership. I was a great influencer, but not a great leader. So I had a lot of people that were following me and I had no idea what to do with them. And then you get to this point where you say the type of leader that you want to be and to analyze that. And it took me a minute to get there, but to be a leader that can lead and not need is where I wanted to be, which led me to where I am today. And the opportunity that I stand in today is that I can literally lead and not need from the place that I sit right now. But my greatest battle has always been with myself. I think we currently, or we always like to talk about what the enemy is doing when it's the inner me. What's that conversation that I'm having internally that is keeping me from stepping into the greatness that I live in? And so it took me really getting honest with myself. We lie to ourselves way more than we lie to other people. We love to put the positive smoke screen up, how are you? Oh, I'm better than great and improving every minute. And then you get off and cry your eyes out because you know you're lying.
Right.
But then that goes back to what your topic is tonight, is belief. And belief is basically whatever you decide is truth. And it could be good or bad. It could be good or bad. So if your limiting beliefs and your thinking is telling you all these negative things and you're convinced that that's true, then that's where your belief is and that's where your manifestation is. So belief is huge, and I'm glad you all chose that topic, even over faith and trust, because belief ties into those. even when it
Right.
comes down to trust. Like for me, you know, you'll say that you don't trust people, but is it that you don't trust people, or you don't trust your ability to make the right decision regarding those people? And
Mm.
so as you start thinking about where you are and where you're positioned in life, it's easy to blame somebody else. And that's what we look for, is someone to blame. But
Right.
in actuality, you're the one that makes the final decision. So no one else is to blame. Even if it was a bad place to be, you decided to be there. So
Mm.
forgive me. I apologize.
No,
I
no,
went right
no.
on into
No, this is great.
Mm-mm.
Listen,
I'm
This
loving
is
it.
great.
I'm
This
loving
is
it.
listen.
great. This is great.
Instagram, Cozy Couch followers. Listen, I'm sharing some of the sauce here with y'all. You know, so I listen. I cracked the door open, right, to hear some of the things that, you know, the conversation we share. And nah, just it's, you are so spot on with everything that you've been saying. And you know, one of the things, and I wrote it down because I'm telling you, Shan be dropping gems all the time. I'm like, we can't even have a regular conversation. I be writing stuff down. I'm like, oh
And likewise, and I love it.
yeah,
I love
oh
it. You
my
know you're in
god,
good company when you go, wait, run that back. For real.
yeah,
Run
Right,
that back.
right.
Put that back.
Mo went and got
right.
a
Run
notebook.
roll that back.
I went and got a notebook. I was like, oh, this bring it on. That's what's up.
You know, you had mentioned something when I had spoken to you before. You had said something that was so profound, and you I believe you probably quoted it from someone, but still, it was just, it's different. Again, remember I said hearing voices, different voices saying certain things. You had mentioned, you said that awakening is not the fruit of getting rid of something. Awakening means realizing that the barrier never even existed. And when I say that, where the mic at? So we can drop this, because
Run that back, G.
Okay.
awakening is not the fruit of getting rid of something, right?
Mm.
Awakening means realizing that the barrier never existed. So I wanted to touch up on that, because
Ooh.
sometimes we get this like, oh, aha moment. We're thinking like, okay, I stopped doing this, so now I'm just completely awoke, right? Awake, right? And but really what it is not that you necessarily got rid of something. It's more so that you realized, right? You had that the smoke and mirrors, as you said,
Mhm.
get away from you, and you had to more than likely had to reflect within yourself
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of things. So I want to, you know, touch up on that, and then I'm gonna have all, you know, the other ladies too
Thank you.
speak on that as well.
Right. Well, the perfect example, and I won't say who he is, but I'll just say my ex-husband. Um,
There you go. Listen, the conversations are unfiltered, and unapologetic,
Unscripted.
and
I was
unscripted.
I appreciate that. And anyone that knows me knows who he is, but I wouldn't put him out there on blast, because honestly, after a very horrible divorce, I ended up having to call him and apologize. Even though he's the one that had the affairs, he had a baby with another woman. There was a lot to go on. However, one of the let me take a sip on that one. And so
I'm gonna need
I was
some more than
very
some water.
angry. I was very angry. But when God got a hold of me,
Mm.
basically, and said, I showed you everything about him before you married him, but because you decided to marry him before I could
Ooh,
prepare him for
Jesus.
you, now you got to endure this process with him.
Ooh.
Mm.
And so I had to really realize that God showed me everything I needed to know about him before I said I do.
Mm.
Mm.
So I'd like to bring back to when people say, they love to quote Maya Angelou, as we were talking about earlier, is that
Yeah.
when somebody shows you who they are, believe
Believe
them.
them,
We
yeah.
say it, we say it, we say it, but the most important part is rarely say it. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
And
Amen.
so he was true to who he is.
Amen.
And I had to go back and apologize for expecting him to do anything other than what he had already shown me. And
Mm.
so part of what I had to learn is I had to stay in that pain until God released me from it, because until I learned the lesson of a decision that I made, that I was going to continue to repeat that decision. And it still slaps me in the face. It's like, okay, you're going down that path again. And we pick up the same routines that we watched over and over happen in our families that we don't even know that we're repeating. Even if we think we're getting so far away from it, you're repeating that same cycle.
Mm.
Wow.
You better
And I
go.
said, and I say
You better
that
come on now.
Just choose.
we're
Where the
repeating the
complaint?
same cycle.
Collection plate on this Sunday because I got
For real.
Yeah.
And
Right?
so I actually owed him an apology because just like he said yes to me, I said yes to him and all his flaws and everything that he had already shown me. So could I truly be angry with him for treating me the way that he showed me he would?
Mm.
And so,
That is wow.
so that's how we are in friendships and business relationships. People show you who they are, but women in
Right.
particular like to see what we want to see, would like to see the potential, and you ignore what's
Now,
very present in your face.
That is
do you?
so true.
I have to ask this. I have to ask this because you don't open Pandora's box. Now, in going with that, is it fair to say, like you said, people show us who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it this innate thing in us that although we see these things, we try to change the person because oftentimes you're the people around you and you're like, oh, I can change them for the better, right? Even though they're showing you certain things, and it's not necessarily that you're blind to it, but you're just like, I know I can make them who I want them to be. And we find that in relationships when you say, oh, this person is going to change for me. Like, he was this over here, right? Or, whether it be a friend, but this person is going to change for me because I know I'm not that great, right? I know I'm just that great. But do you guys find that that's, often we do that even though, like you said, we see things, right? And even though we may or may not be repeating the cycle, right? We want to change them for the person that we think they should be as opposed to accepting them for who they are.
But you said it, it's women more so that feel that way. The guys don't look at you and say that. But women will look at you, will look at them and go, oh, my love can heal him. My love can do that. And you were created to be a nurturer. You can't help it. But that's where wisdom and faith and belief have to come into play. The problem is we step into the role before we make them make the necessary changes. Like, you don't make him fight for you. You make it too easy and you just give it to him. So if it's necessary for him to change, then why not see the change before you step into it? But that's what we do because we're nurturers. So you gave us something to nurture, to love, and to care for, and to strengthen and bold up. But we don't realize our own strength and courage in the sense that, okay, so I'm worthy of that. I'm worthy of what I'm asking for, but you don't make him work for it. So you go into immediate nurture mode, hoping and praying and thinking that that's going to make a change, but you also conditioned him that his behavior is okay.
Right.
So we don't set the proper limits. We don't set the proper rules and barriers to say that, look, yeah, I know that you got some issues or whatever, and you have some good quotes and things about you also, but we don't make them do the work first. We get in the relationship and hope they do the work. And then we spend years of regret and pain dealing with what he already showed you that, but you thought something different. So this is the thing. People don't disappoint us. That's it. People don't disappoint us. It's our expectation of them that disappoints us.
That's facts. Yes.
And so because you expected him to change,
right,
now you're disappointed and angry with him. But it's not fair to be angry with him for not doing what you expected them to do.
That is so true. And people on here who are tuning in, okay, if you're not married, then obviously you're like, okay, this don't make no sense to me. Or maybe if you don't have a significant other, but you can also apply this to your own family, your friends.
Yeah.
Your friends, you can apply it to business.
Business partners too, But that is just so freaking true. So freaking true. It's not that people disappoint you. It's your expectations of them. But that's the thing too. The other question is it wrong to have an expectation, you know, of someone so they can meet you at a point. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have a
Of standard.
right, if you don't have a standard, but I guess that kind of ties in with what you
But
said.
I was about to say, you just said it though.
Yeah, I'm
It's
about to
like
say what
it's
you
okay
said.
to expect it and meet them, but we don't meet them there. We just jump right in.
Right. We're supposed to meet people because we often hear our mentors say that all the time. Meet people where they're at.
Where they are, wherever
Right.
they are, you meet them. But do
You
you
meet
get in
them.
the boat with them, or do you meet them there?
Right.
Right. So meet people where they are. You ain't got to sit in it
Yeah.
where they're at.
Because
but you can
technically
also,
that's what we're doing right now is we're meeting each other where we are, but I'm not necessarily in the same space as
Mhm.
any of you, but we're meeting to discuss this and put it on the table. So
Right.
the thing about it is we don't have this type of hard conversation in the beginning of the relationship. It's like, do you know what you want? Do you know what you expect? Do you know what you will and will not tolerate? Okay, so is it fair? Because what do they say? Your representative goes to meet this person, and then you're on honeymoon phase for like
that
the
comment
first
right
90
there just
days.
opened up the Pandora's box for a whole other conversation. Go ahead.
Not the
Right.
representative.
They just said you're not having the hard conversation in the beginning because most of us aren't even sure of what we want. We'll settle for what we can get.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's
Yes.
that's another part.
That's a
Knowing
whole
what
nother
you want.
thing too.
Knowing what you want in life, relationships,
Mhm.
partners, business partners, from your family, from your children, is very
Especially when it comes to your goals.
and your
Because
goals.
if you're this big, I'm gonna have a yacht and
Mhm.
this kind of house and this kind of house, and you're with someone that's just kind of like, we don't need all that.
Mm,
I'm
That is
okay in
so
this
that's the
2 bedroom
uneven
or
yoke
something like
right there.
So even on different levels, it's like have the appropriate conversation. If
Mhm.
it's a blended family, how do you discipline your children? How do you plan on disciplining my children? How do you plan on being a mentor, whatever it is to my children? It's like so many conversations we don't think about in the beginning
Right.
of the relationship. And now
Mhm.
6 months to years later, you're down the road going, hold up, what
Only
you
one.
not gonna do? Get the next,
Right.
what you
You ain't
not
gonna
gonna
talk to
do?
my child like that.
And
I'm
it's like
Our
we
not
never
children.
established that.
Ours.
But it's difficult to be angry with someone where you never establish your boundaries and your limits. So we have to take responsibility for the decision or the lack of decision that we make.
Mm.
But what about, you brought up a good word too. You talk about boundaries. What if you've also set a boundary? But that person said, yeah, whatever, you forget you and your boundaries. That happens too. There's
But what
times
does that
where
have to do with you?
you're right. It has nothing to do. But I'm
But that's
saying
when I
those.
say we settle for what we can get.
Mm-hmm.
You put a boundary in place, why lower it for this person?
Mm-hmm.
You have made the decision that the boundary was unnecessary or just far-fetched. Because we can set some unnecessary boundaries sometimes, like what I'm not going to do and what I will not do and what I will not tolerate. But that's based on an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes it's like you can set the boundary, and the boundary, if they don't care about the boundary though,
Mm. That's a whole nother
That's
topic.
what I'm referring to. Yeah, right. They don't
That's a
care
whole
about the boundaries.
that's then that becomes the other word of respect. Because you gotta respect everybody's boundaries and their ways about them.
and
So
proving you're worthy of me lowering
or
that
exactly.
or changing that. But we have
Right.
to make them prove it. It's like that's one of the things is when you figure out when you know your worth, you find it difficult to be in the space of those that don't.
Mm.
So it all goes
That
back
part.
to you.
That part, right.
Yeah.
And
That's-
isn't that the same thing with the knowing your worth? If you notice, and well, I don't know about for you guys, but when you start working on yourself, right? And maybe you ladies can relate. When you get to the point you start working on yourself and you're going in the direction that, as far as your goals and dreams and stuff like that, the people that you shouldn't have around you tend to start disappearing.
Chi.
Not that, and you don't even have to separate yourself from them because it happens automatically.
Naturally.
They get uncomfortable.
They get
Right,
uncomfortable.
because it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
we're not having the same conversations. I'm not even calling you. Like I would call and check in, but the check-in ain't even the same as, oh, you breathing? Oh, you posting on social media, so I know you good. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know, and it's not,
You
because
don't have the same
when you
conversation.
start talking and they just come with the negative, like she be saying, she was like, look, I ain't got time. Like, have a blessed day.
Have a
Right?
blessed day.
Right?
don't.
She's like, I'm not, because there's no need for a conversation, because, and you know what's interesting? I found that, because when we had the exercise of where you had to call people and forgive, like you said, you had to call your ex-husband and forgive him, right? And I had to come to the realization, just because you called someone and forgave them, that does not mean you have to, wanting to build a relationship again
Oh,
or
Right.
have them back
definitely.
in your
Right.
life.
No.
Like, forgiving,
Definitely.
it's
The peace was for you.
right.
That was
It's not forgive. Okay, I forgave you. Now let's see, and I had to really, I had to come to having to come to a Jesus moment with that, because I'm like, just because you forgave someone, it doesn't mean that you have to let them back in your life. You forgive, and move on.
right.
Because you're growing, that does not mean the other person is growing.
Right.
Right.
And whatever season they were in your life, that's what that was meant for. And now it's time for you to move on.
Right. One of the things that I tell myself daily that helps me make better decisions is that either I win or I learn, but I never lose.
Every
So
day.
I pay attention to every relationship that seems to have fallen off. Did I lose that relationship? No, because what is for me is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to think about what I obtained. Like my conversation now is, what did I learn from them? Like, there's something, whether it's don't do this ever again, or whatever it is, there was a lesson in it.
Right.
It's not a loss. Either I win or I learn, but I never lose.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about, and like we always talking about, is like, I know, have unconditional faith and trust
Yep.
that all things work in my favor for the goodness of all. Why?
Because God in the universe
has
has
my
my back.
Yeah.
And it's just like literally thinking that, what am I so afraid of other than the conversation? Most of us think we're afraid of failure. We're not as afraid of failure as we are the conversation that will happen if we fail. Especially from the people who said, I told you not to go fool
Accountable.
around with them people. So you're more afraid of the conversation.
The
It's
I
not the
told you
failure.
so
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
The I told you so.
And
Right.
even the flip side too. Some people are also afraid of success, because that means they have to stay consistent to that. It's like, yo, I gotta keep this up.
Right.
Hold on.
And it's the conversation you've told yourself, like, what does success mean? And everything boils back to, what is the story that you told yourself? And there's this thing I used to do that I learned from Lisa Nichols, was the money blueprint, was understanding your relationship with money. What was the conversation around money in your household, in your community? There's a gender-based conversation.
Even
See this, even?
Listen
alignment.
right now.
I'm
Okay?
telling you.
Listen right now. Listen right now.
Total
Okay?
It's
alignment.
the energy for me.
Oh,
It's the belief
I
in the
love it.
budget.
I love it. I love
listen.
it. So when you start thinking about that, like literally, I've written a book that I've yet to put out, but a little bit about it is, it's written for men and the women that love them, but it's from the perspective of a woman. And it talks about the conversation and us understanding that we literally do speak two different languages. Think about it. Men were raised to be providers, not husbands and not fathers. Women were raised to be mothers and wives, not providers. So there's an imbalance in what your thinking is as you're growing up and developing. And then we as women get so caught up in the title of mom and wife that we forget about the woman. And then once the children are grown, the woman is lost. If the husband decides to step off, step away, and do whatever, the woman is lost. And it's the same for him. All he knows is to provide, because that's all they really taught about him.
Right.
And then how do you love a man like that? Because he's also been told, don't cry.
Right. Don't show emotion.
Don't show emotion. Stop being a punk and get up. The conversation we heard as kids developed our adult blueprint. So
Mhm.
whatever trauma you had as a child, you brought into your adult life, and it is
Exactly.
influencing you, good or bad, today, whether you recognize it or not. So the challenge is to connect the dots
Mm.
and think about, why did I make the decision to do this? Whatever the battle is within you is connected to something you were told as a child. Like my dad
Right.
used to say to me all the time, your friendliness is going to get you in trouble.
Hmm.
And since this is Cozy Couch, and I am grateful for the healing that I have received, I'm going to go even deeper.
Mm.
When I was gang raped at the age of 13, not by strangers, by people that I know.
Mm.
Now think about this. Now, it's one thing to have to go through a situation, a stranger, but people that you knew and trust now is challenging your ability to trust anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And so you're dealing with all of this. And then when I had the opportunity that one of them approached me in my adult life,
Mm.
is that I went, look at here now, God.
We know jail. She didn't end up in jail. We know that.
Right. Right.
Situation is what sparked my book,
Mm.
because I realized that while I struggled for years after that situation, his struggle was far deeper than mine, because he couldn't forgive himself for what he did.
Mm.
That's his demon.
So
Mm.
however, when the opportunity to forgive came, I didn't know that I could right away. But when I ultimately turned around and realized that holding on to that isn't doing anything but hurting me, and then forgave him, the level of drugs and drinking that he had been doing his entire life had aged him probably 30 years. He never got over what he did. But the moment I forgave him, released him and me.
Mm.
And this is where the difficulty is. When I talk to people, I'm also what I call a lifestyle and business strategist. There's a lot of personal corruption that affects our professional path. But when you also realize that you played a role in your spouse cheating, that's the hard part for anybody to get, because it's not condoning it. But I can promise you, they cried out to you for help before it happened.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I can totally agree with that.
And then if you're not willing to see your part in anything that you do, you will spend the rest of your life
In the
fighting a
same-
battle that was unnecessary, and continuing to have to spin that cycle in learning that. But not only did forgiving him do that, it turned into a private group of well over 240 men. Now, listen, these men were confiding in a woman and being very vulnerable and
Wow.
telling their deepest, darkest secrets, which does not happen, but that wasn't anything but a God thing. However, it also came back to make them realize you can confide and be vulnerable to a perfect stranger, but not the one that you lay in bed with. What's the problem?
That's a big problem.
Mm.
That's a big problem. And it happens in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of marriages, relationships, family.
Right.
There's so many people walking around with deep, dark, painful
Don't
secrets.
even get me started.
I know.
But see, this all goes back to belief. It's
Yeah.
whatever you decide is truth. And if you could be understanding enough, like the biggest thing is to be understanding before trying to be understood,
Mm.
Oh,
would
That's
save you
powerful.
a lot of heartache. Being understanding versus being understood, and then understanding that for every story, there is a story. So most of the time when you're dealing with the behavior that you don't necessarily care for or like, you're dealing with the surface reaction to a rooted problem. And if you have the heart and compassion to understand that this person has pain that they're speaking from, that they're reacting from, that they're dealing from, then you, as a believer, could actually be a lot more loving, a lot more compassionate, a lot more understanding.
love that neighbor.
And then when we were talking about protecting, proving, and defending earlier, it goes right back into that. Whenever you feel like you have to protect yourself, prove anything, or defend yourself, you're already out of the will of God.
Mm.
Mm.
Yep.
Woo!
Fact.
Where's Dr. Caroline Leaf? Yeah.
For real. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful. This is one of the things that I
You
love
said
to do. Say it again.
She's talking to the baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I should have known by that look.
By that look, you saw that look, right?
That was that mommy look.
Mhm. You perfected that, honey.
That was so true. That was so true. I'm gonna quote you, Shannon. Because when we were talking before, going back to what she said, whenever we are focused on proving, protecting, or defending ourselves, we are also hindering our goals from manifesting versus allowing the journey to unfold as we continue to move forward despite what it looks like or feels like. Listen,
Allowing. That's the key word.
allowing is the key.
Chi, I'm gonna need you to send that in the text for me, honey.
Drop that in
Allowing.
the chat.
Drop it in the chat.
Share with the group.
Man. Yeah, that was all types of true. Because if you think about what you had said, is that you're so focused on being understood,
Being heard.
appeasing people, being heard, that
You're
what is
not
your
hearing.
focus?
You're not
Right. So what is your goal? Like, what do you actually want?
Right.
Is it just that you want someone to hear you? Do you want to feel like you're just a part of something? Because sometimes that happens too. And, sometimes people don't realize it, but they're more focused on being connected to something than connecting themselves into something, And that is so important, knowing what you want, who you should align yourself with, right? To help you grow. And it's just so important. So, Shannon, you already know, I definitely appreciate you.
Yes.
Definitely
I appreciate you guys.
And I'm
And
so
like one
blame
last
for
word
that.
based on what you just said.
But
is
what
to
you say?
have
I'm sorry.
grace.
Say that,
I was
Shannon?
going to say is to have grace.
And
And I
that's
say that
something-
from a space of me because I lived the life that I was expected to live for so long that I didn't know what I actually desired to do or how to live. So having grace with other people that may not be where you are, or being in understanding, because there are a lot of people that don't know what they want. It took me a minute to write down goals. I had never written goals because my goals was about everybody else.
right.
And so remember grace. Remember grace.
That's why we say, how Kevin and I say, you work harder on you than on anybody else.
Yep.
Because just like we were talking earlier, Chi, and it's so crazy to where it takes environments like this to really realize like how your childhood has such an impact on you as an adult. Like even things that you didn't realize, or like you said earlier, that you didn't you didn't even know you were going through it. Right? The way we treat ourselves, the way we talk to other people, and it's like you're growing up in an environment where you hear things like, oh, you don't need this, or you're not good enough, or you don't have this, all this lack that someone is speaking over you. And then you carry that into adulthood, and it's like, it took me a long time, because even though I started writing down the goals, was get back to that, do you believe what you're saying now? Because you've been programmed a certain way for so long that now you're in this environment, and it's like, no, speak truth, speak who you are, right? And it took so long to really find that, because even with all the success that you see around you, sometimes I'm not speaking for you guys, but I'm just saying, I had to sit back and I'm like, can this really happen for me because of how I was programmed, right? And it's like, you see it happening, and you're not judging. It's not a thing. You're not coming from an envious place or anything like that. It's just like, and often it's not necessary, and then goes, but it takes it back to that fear of success.
Can I get you to repeat what you just said? What does your mind tell you?
Oh, can this really happen for me? Right? Even though you're seeing it happening for people around you, and is it the fear of success, but just unprogramming yourself to like, no, this is supposed to this is what's supposed to happen. Those
Can I give
limits.
you another little thing? You said it like 3 times, and forgive me for interrupting, but
No, go ahead, go ahead. Oh, ooh, you cut out.
yeah, pardon me. I don't know. That's one of them alerts they got by Do Not Disturb. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay.
I know. I had a whole call that came through.
But when you said your mind starts to say can this really happen for you, is how you said it the first time. And how, do you really think you can do this? But you're speaking in third party, and that's when I started to realize that's when ego is talking, because ego speaks in third party.
Ooh,
Ooh,
you're right.
okay.
Yes, it does.
Point. Yeah.
When
And
you
ego
start,
is negative.
ego is negative. Ego has edged God out.
God out.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Ego
It is
edges
like
God out.
literally when you start speaking in third party, you already know, look here. And that's what was her name? Jacqueline Carr. She says when the devil says I am, I says I am not that. Whatever the devil says I am not, I say I am that. You know it's the opposite. So what
that's
happens
that Lord
when
take
you're
the
thinking,
wheel. Jesus
that's
take the
that
wheel.
Lord, Jesus take the wheel.
What
Because
I
when
say
you're
all the
thinking,
time, I be like, Lord take the wheel.
because
Lord,
think about it, as long as you're thinking, those thoughts have a way to fester. It's not until you open your mouth that you cancel the thought. So it's like the moment that ego starts speaking, it's just kind of like, no, I am worthy. I am enough. I am successful. I am wealthy. I am
rich.
loved.
I am
I
powerful.
am rich.
I'm
I am
clean.
powerful beyond all measures.
I am
I am.
the
When
greatest
you
version
start,
of
I
myself.
am,
Absolutely.
and then you end like, why? Because I am.
And it's so important, that phrase I am. How important that is, because again, going back to, that's not stuff you heard growing up, right? I am. I am. Like
You weren't corrected.
you know, it's
Because
like,
it's not what they said, it's what you agreed to. It's like, you're right,
Right.
I am.
Yeah, right.
Because that's how you talk to ego too. Ego say, you're not smart enough for this. You know what? You're right. Because I need to go back to school. I need to, you start having a conversation with ego. And now, because you've confirmed what ego said, now you shifted your belief.
Yeah.
Because the manifestation, you seeing that everything started with belief. Belief affects your thoughts. Your thoughts start to manifest in feelings. Your feelings start to come out in words. Your words start to affect your actions. Your actions create your results. But this is the key. Your results reinforce your belief.
Ooh.
Everything comes back to, what do you really believe?
Let's go. Run that back again.
Listen,
we gotta
replay.
make sure
That's hard talk from the heart.
It's the circle of belief. Whatever you believe starts to start festering your thoughts. Now think about it. When you have a certain thought, does that not create an emotion? So that's a feeling that actually goes into it. From that feeling, you start to speak it. And from what you're speaking and now empowering, because you opened your mouth, because life and death is in the tongue. Now that you're speaking it, and the ear gates, so faith come by hearing, you're speaking it and you're hearing it. So you just pouring it all in. And then you start to have these actions that confirm whatever it was that you were speaking. And now those actions create results. But the results, all the results do, if you're not happy with the results are reinforcing your belief. And so if you really truly want to manifest, that means that whatever you believe, what you feel, what you say, and what you do must be in alignment.
Right.
Alignment. Exactly.
Write it down.
So,
Let's
read
go.
it out loud to yourself.
So you see what you said, but your
behind
actions and your words have to be in alignment.
you know how J.O., what I tell you, J.O. said, do not let your actions betray your words.
Absolutely. Shout out to Mr. Justin Owens.
Right?
I know, right?
Goodness. For real,
wow,
for real.
this has been amazing. Oftentimes you have to hear yourself speak sometimes, because when you got to get out of your head. You have to get out of your head. It's like sometimes you're like, I talk all the time, but I don't listen to myself.
Right?
And then you understand that's all ministry is. Oftentimes ministry is speaking to you as it's speaking through you. So we have to listen. And sometimes even when you're the one talking, keep your notebook close because you go,
Yeah.
Right?
I said it, but
Write that down.
Run that back one more again.
right. I know I
Takers and
said
money
it, but
makers.
one moment, please. Let me write that down because that's gonna come back on me.
Right, right. Listen, Shannon, this has been an absolute pleasure, absolute treat. And for it to be on short notice too. But you
Right.
see,
Thank goodness for that.
I have belief and I had trust that you were going to be here and do what you do. So it was knowing. I was ready knowing. I just said, look, just show up and just do what you do because I knew that,
Right.
speaking to you, I already knew that you are a plethora of knowledge. You're definitely someone I like to hear from because, you're speaking the positive things that I want to hear, that I need to hear. And then again, it's all about aligning yourself with people who are in alignment with your thoughts, your goals, and so I am so
Vision,
happy and
your
grateful.
vision.
Right, your vision. So I'm so happy and grateful, for you taking time to hop on here and share this platform with us. So thank you so much.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really
Appreciate
appreciate
coming
it. This
on
is good.
and sharing your wisdom,
Yes.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
thoughts. And I really appreciate environments like this. And this is something that we need more of.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I appreciate you being so vulnerable because sometimes people they don't say everything and I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she only gave y'all a scratch, but yeah, I was like, but yeah, she be sharing about it, and that's what it's about, sharing that transparency and you learning from your pain. That's how you became you actually learn from it.
That's how you grow.
And you said that you don't lose, you either win or learn. When you don't learn, you're repeating the same things over and over again, keep stumbling through the same situation.
And you sharing gives others the permission that it's okay and that they can share because
absolutely
everything is said. We're learning from each other. And so by you being vulnerable and transparent, I'm taking something away. I'm learning. And this can open the doors for so many other women and men that, didn't think it was okay to talk about. But it's okay to have these conversations.
That's right.
And I'd like to put it out there. I'm going to look over in this direction as I say that because there is a gifting that we each have, and I'm very good with body language. And as I shared my story, I observed something. So I put it out there. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'm open, available, and prayed up and ready.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. I observed
Y'all
too.
heard it here
But
first.
anyway,
Thank you. I received
this
that.
way and say it.
I received,
But
I received that, Shannon. I received that.
So
amen.
Thank you again. And ladies and gentlemen, just to tie in things, always got to put that out there that coming up, have an event in West Palm Beach. If you want to see me, if you want to see more of Shannon, okay,
Hold on.
definitely connect with us.
We can do a live cozy couch, okay?
Right.
Oh, good.
Get some more information on or from either one of us on that event, so you can hear more from Shannon, from any of us. And all the great people that she's dropped, we've dropped some names, Mr. Justin Owens as well. He's going to be there as well. And at the end of the day, you always want to stay in alignment, stay close to the fire, stay plugged in to people who are pouring into you, man. I can't say that enough. I cannot stress that enough because oftentimes we don't even realize we're in spaces that we didn't even know existed. Because we were so used to being in certain other spaces. So, I definitely don't take the space that I'm in for granted whatsoever. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. And this has been a phenomenal Sunday. Thank you for this icing on the top.
Thanks. Thanks. And ladies, I will see you in West Palm Beach. I can't wait.
Yes, yes, yes.
Shannon, I can't wait to meet you in person.
Person.
In person.
You're welcome, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. I love it. All right, signing out. Thank you guys for tuning in for Cozy Couch Conversations. We will be back next month.
Right, where your Sunday
Have an
night.
amazing, I know,
Start
right?
here.
Wait a minute. How y'all let me forget to say that?
I don't know. Comes
You
out your
forgot to say that.
mouth.
Thank you guys. When your Saturday night starts here, Sunday night starts here.
Sunday.
Oh my gosh,
Your
I
week.
kind of miss Saturdays, but Sunday night starts here.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.